The game of Mahjong was found in China 1,000 years ago. It was one of the most popular board games at that time. People are obsessed with it and they can't live without it. The game was then shipped to the United States in the 1920s. It became a great success in New York, Boston, and in Washington, and it sold more than 10,000 sets of Mahjong. And a few years later, the game was successfully spread to more than 20 countries, and they developed their own style of Mahjong. Until now, Mahjong is still one of my most popular and favorite games in the society. People might have the wrong idea that the game is only for gambling use, but they're wrong. It actually benefits you a lot. Different to Western board games and card games, it's more complicated. And basically the game requires 4 players and consists 144 tiles of Mahjong, and the goal is to complete a set of hands. The game requires strategies, quickness, smartness, and a little bit of luck. In other words, it requires you to think a lot while you're playing the game. And especially benefits the younger to develop their brain and thinking skills. How? We'll have Dr. Craig Childress from the University of California to talk more about it.
My name is Dr. Craig Childress. I'm a clinical psychologist in Pasadena, California. One of the things about critical thinking skills is that they involve a part of the brain called the frontal lobe. This tends to be the last maturing system within the brain. Typically comes online around the ages of 5 to 7 and is used extensively between 7 to 12. In terms of how the brain grows and develops, it grows on the principle of we build what we use. So in developing a child's critical thinking skills, what we want to do is use that system, use it as much as possible. So rather than just giving the child solutions, we help the child develop their own solutions with an intent to understand, which is a simple curiosity and caring about the child's experience from the child's point of view. I wonder what it's like to do this. I wonder what would happen. What do you think might happen with that? Isn't that interesting? So do you think you might? Those sorts of questions and curiosity about the child's experience helps the child use that frontal lobe, use that critical thinking skills.
And really that's what Mahjong is all about. It's a curious game and it requires lots of thinking and it's not easy to play with. You gotta keep on thinking and using your brain. And besides, from the youngest, the game actually benefits you no matter how old you are. So basically the more you play it, the more you can benefit from it. Other than letting your son playing computer all day long, why not introduce the game to them? They may find it beneficial and it may assist them personally. And according to the Hong Kong Chinese University research, Mahjong is actually a game that keeps our mind ticking and especially benefits and helps the elderly. It can help them to prevent from having dementia. But what is dementia?
Dementia is probably an unfortunate term because it has such a different meaning in the lay mind as it does in science. But in neurology, it is a term that stands for a progressive degenerative disease of the brain that affects multiple brain functions.
So dementia can be a serious issue and can cause a serious sickness to the brain function. As the game of Mahjong requires lots of thinking, if the elderly plays it and approach it more, they can actually lower the chance of having the disease. They can keep on using their brain and think more, so their brain will not degenerate, and so they can live healthily. Besides benefiting us personally, the game also helps us socially. Sometimes the game of Mahjong requires communication and cooperation with each other. And so we will have the chance to learn each other better, because we need to cooperate with each other to win the game. Playing the game also allows us to have time to interact with each other, or we might be able to have a better relationship with our friends, and even making new friends. Also, by just participating in or observing a complex and fun game of Mahjong, you can also understand Chinese character, social bonding, and history. So the game of Mahjong benefits us a lot and it helps us both personally and socially. So we should approach it more and benefit ourselves and others. Sometimes, if we want to play the game but we don't have enough players, then what do? Actually, Mahjong is available in different many areas. For example, we can go to our computer, go online and play with players from all around the world. Or we can choose to play on our electronic gadgets, such as our iPad or even on phone. And it's very convenient and you can still benefit from it.